Okay, Thomas Jefferson, back in 1781, when he was in the Virginia House of Burgesses, keep in mind, this is the guy who started the free University of Virginia and has that on his tombstone, rather than that he was president of the United States twice. He was more proud of founding the University of Virginia. He wrote, "For the more general diffusion of knowledge, it becomes expedient for promoting the public happiness that those persons whom nature has endowed with genius and virtue should be rendered by liberal education worthy to receive and able to guard the sacred deposits of the rights and liberties of their fellow citizens, and that they should be called to that charge without regard to wealth, birth, or accidental condition or circumstance, and educated at the common expense of all." Ben Franklin, in his Proposals Relating to the Education of Youth in Pennsylvania, wrote, "The good education of youth has been esteemed by wise men of all ages as the surest foundation of the happiness of the Commonwealth. Almost all governments have therefore made it a principal object of their attention to establish and endow with proper revenues such seminaries of learning as might supply the succeeding age with men qualified to serve the public with honor to themselves and to their country." So how do we do that? Stephen DeMaura is with us. He's the president of Americans for Job Security, a blogger over at redstate.com, savejobs.org, their website. Stephen, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You seem to be quite upset that the Obama administration is not so kindly disposed toward for-profit educational loan sharks and for-profit educational institutions, and would rather have government fund education and, for that matter, loans necessary for education. I don't understand why.
Yeah, we're actually quite upset about the exact opposite. What we are upset about is there is a growing need, and this has been true for a long number of years, for access to higher education for all people. And with budget crunches and decreases in funding at the state level, there is increased need for access to student loans and student loan payments.
Why should we have student loans? Why not just have free education? If you agree with me that there's an increased, that our most important infrastructure is our intellectual infrastructure. I mean, we all pay to build bridges. Why don't we all pay to educate our students, including our college students, like pretty much every developed country in the world does?
Well, we certainly subsidize higher education at a very significant portion.
No, I'm asking just a simple question here. It seems to me that conservatives are only in favor of higher education when somebody can make a buck off it. And that's the subtle subtext of the flowery oratory that you're laying on me here. And I'm saying, will you instead join me and say, no, we should all tax ourselves and use that money to put anybody who can go to college through college for free, so that we can, as we used to do before Ronald Reagan became president and before he became governor of California, as we used to do, so that once again we can be the country that produces the smartest scientists in the world, instead of being 38th in the world in education, right down there with Slovenia.
I think that the faux outrage that you are showing is really
there's nothing faux about it.
To protect the entrenched higher education interests, the millionaire college presidents, the professors at state colleges and universities who aren't teaching anyone. I think that what we need is accountability in higher education to ensure that as many people as possible have access.
You are changing the subject, and you're changing the subject in a way that you're trying to vilify the people that you're describing as basically some sort of an educational elite. Let me tell you, if there are college presidents who are making millions of dollars, I'm opposed to it too. But I somehow doubt you're opposed to the head of a for-profit college making millions. Am I right?
No. I mean,
so you don't think that Chris Whittle should be making millions of dollars?
I'm sorry, I don't know who Chris Whittle is.
He runs Education One, this private educational program. There's a bunch of them. I mean, do you think that the CEO of the University of Phoenix, another for-profit college, should be making millions of dollars?
I think that the colleges and universities themselves, whether they're nonprofit or for-profit, should decide the salaries of their...
Well, just a minute ago, you were attacking these college presidents for making so much money.
No, I'm attacking them for making that much money because there's no accountability in the way that the government is spending our student dollars.
That's nonsense.
And the president,
the accountability is in the ballot box. If people don't like the way that it's being done, we vote in representatives who take the money away from them. But what conservatives are trying to do is take the money. I mean, we've got $1 trillion in student debt right now. I grew up in an age where I put myself, I didn't finish college, but to the extent that I went to college, and to 2 different colleges. I did it working as a DJ, making $2.35 an hour. I did it pumping gas. I did it replacing tires. And I did it washing dishes at Bob's Big Boy. My wife put herself through college working as a waitress at Howard Johnson's. You can't do that today because of this contamination of for-profit colleges. And because back then, colleges were competing with free colleges. This was before Reagan did away with free public education in California.
Your argument is completely nonsensical.
I lived through it.
The rise of for-profit education is a recent phenomenon. It does not point to the 30-year rise in college tuitions. The 30-year rise in college tuitions
goes back to when Reagan did away with free college education.
Okay, well, states are the ones that control a majority of nonprofit colleges. The federal government doesn't run a single college. So
no, but it funds them heavily, as you said a few minutes ago,
through student loans.
No, it wasn't 30 years ago. I didn't have to get a student loan to go to college, neither did my wife. And neither did anybody else I know who's my age.
Federal government policy, so I'm not really sure what point it is you're making.
My point is that our educational infrastructure is part of our commons, and as such, A, it should not be for-profit at all, and B, we should all be paying for it so that anybody who's competent can go to college. I mean, if we want to be the strongest nation in the world intellectually,
can't go to college because of lack of funds.
That's my point.
That student does not exist.
I beg your pardon?
That student does not exist.
Oh yeah, there's always some loan shark willing to make you $100,000 in debt when you graduate. Well, I agree with that. I'm saying that's wrong.
Government. The loan shark you're talking about is the federal government. They control 100% of the student loan industry.
And you want to change that. You want to flip it back to giving it back to the banks.
Well, I mean, even when the banks ran it, the federal government subsidized it and vouched for it.
And made a lot of money for the banks. And the banks are really pissed off at Obama for taking it away from them. I mean, they lost something like $60 billion.
You are misconstruing the point completely. The point is that there should be controls as to how this money is spent. And we cannot provide unlimited amounts of student funds because
nobody is talking about that.
You are talking about that.
I'm talking about funding colleges so that the people can go to college. My dad came back from World War II. He went to college. Not only did he go to college for free, but they paid him $100 a month, which back then was like $1,000 a month today, stipend for room and board. My wife's father went all the way through, got his JD degree, and became the assistant state attorney general for the state of Michigan.
That is a wonderful anecdote, and we continue to do that for those
the world
that serve in the military.
America is full of them. The GI Bill more than doubled the number of college graduates in the United States in 5 years.
Sir, we continue to do that, so I'm not really
We
sure.
do not. We have $1 trillion in student debt that never existed in the history of this country.
Well, you did just say that your grandfather came back from World War II.
My father.
Correct? Your father. Okay, came back from World War II. So I presume it was on the GI Bill that he was...
That's exactly right.
And that still exists today. The benefits still exist to those that serve our country. But what we're talking about is those people that take student loans from the federal government. And whether those student loans should continue to increase, those payments to private and for-profit, both, should continue to increase with no strings attached. And we say that the costs need to be controlled.
It's a straw man argument. Nobody's saying no strings attached. And what I'm saying is end the student loans. Make college free. Okay, Stephen DeMaura. You can read all about it at savejobs.org. Thank you, Stephen.